What's up, Marshfield? I'm Perry McAllister here with the MHS Theatrical Society after their second production of Clue. Hayden, you were the stage manager and the lighting designer for this show. What was the mood you were trying to set with the lighting of the show, and how were you able to make it happen?
The mood I was trying to set for the show was very retro, kind of warm, almost like your grandmother's house kind of feel, because it's Clue, it's retro, it's probably something you played at your grandparents' house as a kid, you know? And I had a lot of help from my crew. I had a lot of idea pitches from members of my crew, and honestly, I really appreciate them because they really put in the work to help me get it done.
The lighting looked phenomenal. Alexa, you were absolutely electric. You really took control of the stage. What did you have to do to get into such a mature character that was very different from the background than you?
It was really fun to play like an older character, and I've never really played an older character before, so that was really fun. And also to get the accent and stuff down, I really had to do a lot of listening activities to get all of the mannerisms and stuff right, but after a while it just kind of came more naturally.
Mrs. Peacock was absolutely hilarious tonight. Declan, you did an incredible job as Mr. Green tonight. As a freshman getting a lead role, how would you say this experience has differed from other shows you've been in?
So I've always typically kind of been the youngest to be in the main cast of a show or something. And I have to say that this experience was probably the most warm feeling because it was the closest I've ever been to a cast when usually I'm kind of ostracized for my age. But, everybody was really warm and welcoming, and it's just such a fun show.
I'm glad to hear that. We love having you here. Karen, you were the assistant director for this show. You've deck managed and stage managed before. What was different about assistant directing, and what sort of new challenges did you encounter?
So the role is very different from what I've done in the past. I worked really closely with our director, Miss Scanlon, and it was kind of a joke that I was the working half of her brain during the production. And I feel the hardest challenge would definitely be how hands-off the role is when it gets to showtime, because I'm so used to being in everything and having my hand in every little thing. But just getting to sit back and watch the show and watch the work that everyone's put in was a really nice change.
You did so much work to get to this moment. Great job. Joey, you've been in a lot of shows in your 4 years here, making you highly experienced on the stage. What sort of influences did you draw on in your preparation for how you played Professor Plum?
I definitely drawed on some of the past characters that I played, like Mr. Woodhouse, and a lot of the arrogance that comes with some of those roles, because Professor Plum is full of himself. Well, he was in love with one of his patients. More than anything, he was in love with himself. So I definitely had to get in that state of mind and be a real snob about everything. So I definitely could include some of that stuff from some of my past roles.
You were very snobby on stage tonight. Great job. Last but certainly not least, Fiona. You play Wadsworth. There's a lot of movements throughout the show where you had to lead choreographed movement sequences throughout the house. How did you guys come up with these moments, and what did the rehearsal process look like?
Yeah, so towards the end of our rehearsal process, tech week, us 8 leads kind of just got together and brainstormed, and we were just we want to create something funny, something more interesting to look at while we're just running across the stage. So we just kind of put our brains together and thought of some cool movements that we could do for each scene. We drilled it in our studio, just making sure that everything looked pristine and good and that it was funny to the audience.
It was very funny to the audience. And there you have it, Marshfield. If you still don't know who done it, we have 3 more shows next weekend. So that's all we have here. Let's send it back to the desk.